There's a time in the night when everything is quiet, when the world is asleep, when distractions are silent, and when your soul can finally be heard. That time is 3 a.m., not because it is magical, but because it is sacred. It is a moment when heaven listens more closely and your spirit becomes more sensitive. Many people wake up randomly at this hour and think it is normal. But sometimes it is not random. Sometimes it is a divine wake-up call. The first key point is understanding the spiritual significance of 3 a.m., the hour of divine opportunity, and why waking up at this time for prayer can unlock powerful breakthroughs in your life. This is not just about setting an alarm clock. It is about aligning yourself with the spiritual rhythm that God often uses to move in extraordinary ways. In Scripture, there are multiple instances where early morning prayer and worship led to divine intervention, guidance, and transformation. The early hours of the morning are often the quietest moments of the day, free from distractions and worldly noise, allowing your spirit to connect deeply with God. When you rise at this sacred hour with a heart fully surrendered, you position yourself to hear God's voice clearly, receive revelation, and release prayers that carry tremendous spiritual weight. The significance of 3 a.m. is rooted in spiritual warfare and divine strategy. The enemy operates in the realm of darkness, attempting to bring confusion, despair, and obstacles into the lives of believers. But God's Spirit is not bound by time. He responds to sincere prayer at any hour. However, there is something unique about waking in the early hours. It demonstrates a level of commitment and sacrifice that engages heaven's attention. When you interrupt your sleep to pray, you are declaring that your desire for God's intervention outweighs comfort, convenience, and routine. This act of dedication signals to the spiritual realm that you are serious, and God honors that seriousness with His attention and favor. During these early hours, your mind is often calmer and your heart is more receptive. Daily responsibilities, stress, and noise have not yet filled your consciousness. This calm creates an environment where your prayers are not just words, but heartfelt expressions that can resonate in the spiritual realm. Every tear, every whisper, every cry for help carries immense weight. At 3 a.m., distractions are minimal and your faith is concentrated, creating a spiritual momentum that can push back obstacles, open doors, and release divine solutions that you could not access during ordinary hours. Another important aspect is the element of discipline and obedience. Waking up at 3 a.m. consistently requires commitment, persistence, and a willing spirit. This discipline is itself a form of worship. The second key point is the power of focused, fervent prayer during the 3 a.m. hour, and how it activates breakthroughs that ordinary prayers often cannot reach. When you wake up at this sacred hour, you are not simply performing a ritual or reciting words. You are entering a place of concentrated spiritual authority. At this time, your prayers are charged with a unique intensity because the quiet and solitude remove distractions, allowing your heart, mind, and spirit to align fully with God's presence. Fervent prayer in these early hours creates a spiritual environment in which heaven is more receptive and your faith is magnified, making it possible for barriers that seemed insurmountable to begin to crumble. Fervent prayer is not about repetition or volume. It is about intensity, clarity, and faith. When you pray with complete focus at 3 a.m., your words become more than mere utterances. They become declarations of faith that carry weight in the spiritual realm. The enemy may attempt to distract you, to tell. The third key point is that the 3 a.m. prayer is not just about asking God for breakthroughs. It is about cultivating intimacy, alignment, and spiritual authority in your life that transforms every area of your existence. When you rise at this sacred hour to pray, you are positioning yourself to hear God's voice in ways that daytime distractions often prevent. It is in these quiet, solitary moments that limited to material or visible results. It extends to wisdom, direction, spiritual discernment, and the alignment of your decisions with God's perfect plan. Your prayers at 3 a.m. serve as a bridge between your natural circumstances and the supernatural power of God, opening doors that human effort alone cannot access. Consistency in this practice amplifies its impact. The more frequently you rise at this hour with a heart devoted to prayer, the more your spirit is trained to recognize and respond to God's presence. Over time, this discipline strengthens your spiritual sensitivity, allowing you to detect God's guidance throughout the day, make decisions in alignment with His will, and respond to challenges with supernatural wisdom. The 3 a.m. prayer is therefore both an act of faith and an exercise in spiritual growth. It transforms you internally, even as it works externally in your life. Every prayer said during this hour contributes to a cumulative effect that reshapes your spiritual atmosphere, creating a momentum that can break through obstacles that once seemed impossible. Furthermore, this time of prayer is strategic in spiritual warfare. Many struggles and attacks manifest in the early morning hours. Fear, doubt, anxiety, and discouragement often creep in during the stillness of the night. By dedicating this hour to prayer, you are taking a stand, reclaiming your peace, and exercising authority over the spiritual forces that seek to derail your purpose. Your prayers become a weapon, your tears and supplications a shield, and your faith a declaration that God's will is greater than any opposition. The enemy cannot anticipate or counter the power released when a believer intentionally aligns their spirit with God in the early hours, making 3 a.m. a pivotal moment of victory. It is also during this hour that your prayers cultivate a deeper sense of intimacy with God. Waking while the world sleeps demonstrates a desire to prioritize your relationship with Him above all else. This intimacy fosters trust, increases faith, and nurtures a deeper understanding of God's character, love, and power. As you pour out your heart, your spirit becomes attuned to His voice, and His presence becomes more tangible in your life. This closeness not only brings comfort and reassurance, but also enables you to pray with greater authority and confidence, knowing that you are aligned with the Creator who is able to accomplish exceedingly abundantly beyond all that you ask or imagine. In addition, the 3 a.m. prayer positions you to receive divine strategies for your life. Solutions, insights, and creative ideas often come during this quiet time when your mind is uncluttered and your heart is fully focused on God. Many testimonies of life-changing breakthroughs, miraculous provision, and answered prayers trace back to moments spent in focused, early morning communion with God. By committing to this discipline, you create a spiritual advantage that your natural environment cannot provide, unlocking doors that remain closed to those who rely solely on daytime efforts or conventional wisdom. Ultimately, the 3 a.m. prayer cultivates a holistic transformation. It strengthens your faith, develops spiritual sensitivity, increases authority in prayer, and fosters intimacy with God. It reshapes your mindset, prepares your spirit for divine intervention, and activates breakthroughs that would otherwise remain dormant. Each early morning session of prayer builds upon the previous one, creating a momentum that moves mountains, changes circumstances, and aligns your life with God's miraculous purposes. When practiced consistently, this discipline becomes a powerful instrument through which God's power manifests in every area of your life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and materially. By committing to this sacred hour, you are not just seeking temporary solutions, you are establishing a lifestyle of faith, discipline, and spiritual alignment. The 3 a.m. wake-up call becomes a daily appointment with destiny, a time when heaven intersects with earth, and a moment when God's power flows unhindered into your life. It is in these quiet hours that your prayers, tears, and devotion coalesce into transformative power, ensuring that every breakthrough you need is released according to God's perfect timing and wisdom. The 3 a.m. prayer is therefore both a key and a catalyst, unlocking doors, igniting miracles, and establishing a level of spiritual authority and intimacy that changes your life forever. In conclusion, the 3 a.m. wake-up call is more than a routine. It is a spiritual strategy, a moment of divine alignment, and an invitation to experience God's extraordinary power in your life. When you rise in the stillness of the early morning, you position yourself to hear His voice clearly, release prayers with authority, and cultivate an intimacy that transforms your heart, mind, and circumstances. This hour is a sacred opportunity to break through obstacles, receive divine guidance, and activate miracles that ordinary effort cannot produce. Every time you commit to this discipline, you demonstrate faith, perseverance, and a willingness to prioritize God above comfort and convenience. Your prayers at 3 a.m. carry weight in the spiritual realm, engaging heaven's attention and inviting supernatural intervention. They are a declaration that you trust God to move on your behalf, a cry of your heart that aligns with His perfect plan, and a key that unlocks doors of provision, favor, and destiny. Remember, this is not merely about waking early. It is about creating a lifestyle of prayer, faith, and spiritual sensitivity. The breakthroughs you seek, whether in finances, relationships, health, or purpose, are released when your spirit is aligned with God and your prayers flow from a heart fully surrendered. Commit to this hour, embrace the discipline, and watch as God answers in ways that astonish you, transform your life, and leave a lasting impact for generations to come. Rise, pray, believe, and receive. Your breakthrough is waiting, and God is ready to meet you in the quiet of the early morning.